1 in every 4 Indians is living with a hidden condition that silently damages their health every single day. And most of them have absolutely no idea. It does not cause obvious pain, there are no early warning signs, and yet it increases the risk of heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, peripheral artery disease, and even some cancers. Doctors call it insulin resistance, and it is also called as the silent spark that lights the fire of many lifestyle diseases in India. Now, here is the scary part. Many people discover they have insulin resistance only when they are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And by then, the damage to the body has already begun. Today, in this video, we are going deep. We will understand what insulin resistance really is, why is it becoming so common in India, how it silently leads to life-threatening conditions, and most importantly, how you can detect and reverse it before it is too late. So first, let us just understand what insulin does. Insulin is a hormone produced by the pancreas, and its main job is to help your body cells absorb glucose, which is the sugar from the food you eat, so that it can be used for energy. Think of insulin as the key and your cell's door as the lock. So when you eat, your glucose rises, insulin comes along, opens the door and lets the glucose go in. But when everything is fine, your blood sugar is controlled, your insulin levels are fine, your cells have enough fuel to keep you active. But when you have insulin resistance, your cells stop responding properly to insulin. It looks like the lock has become rusty and no longer opens easily. So you try and search for more keys. Similarly, your body tries to fix this problem by producing more and more insulin. Now, why is this a ticking time bomb? High insulin levels can be dangerous. At first, your blood sugar may appear to be normal in reports, but if your insulin levels are increasing in the background, then over time, this overproduction will exhaust the pancreas and your blood sugar will start to rise, leading to prediabetes and then ultimately to type 2 diabetes. And insulin resistance is not only about diabetes. It is directly linked to atherosclerosis, heart disease, fatty liver, polycystic ovarian syndrome in women, certain cancers, early aging of blood vessels, and chronic kidney disease. In other words, it is the root cause behind many of the health issues that we see exploding in India today. All of them combined are called as metabolic problems or metabolic syndrome. Now the big question is, why is 1/4 of the Indian population affected by this problem? Well, studies have shown that insulin resistance is very common in India and the numbers may be still more in urban areas. And why is it so common? Firstly, our genetics. We Indians have what doctors call the Asian Indian phenotype, meaning that we tend to store more fat around the abdomen or belly or visceral fat, even if our overall weight is not very high. And this belly fat is very, very metabolically active and it directly contributes to insulin resistance. The second important thing is our typical Indian diet. There is high consumption of refined carbohydrates. It may be roti, rice, bread, biscuit, sugary tea, sweets, combined with a low protein intake. This creates constant spikes in blood sugar and helps increase in insulin release. Third important factor is our lifestyle. Many of us lead sedentary lifestyle. We sit for longer hours in offices, we stand for longer hours at home. There is hardly any physical activity which the body is doing on a regular basis, and all these problems will reduce the body's ability to use insulin effectively. And finally, and fourth, stress and poor sleep. Yes, chronic stress will increase the cortisol levels, which directly interfere with the insulin sensitivity. Now let us understand how insulin resistance can silently damage your body. Well, the danger with insulin resistance is that it works quietly year after year, and high insulin levels will cause the body to store more fat, especially around the waist. And this visceral fat will increase the inflammation in the body. This ends up making the blood vessels much stiffer than the flexibility that they normally have. Inside, it means that the heart has to work harder to pump blood through narrowed arteries. Additionally, the liver starts storing this extra fat, leading to something which is called as non-alcoholic fatty liver. Similarly, the kidneys are also placed under a constant strain. The hormonal imbalance often worsens, leading to the development of PCOS or PCOD in women. And the worst part is that you may feel healthy from the outside because there is no pain, no obvious symptoms, but the damage is already happening inside. And now I'll tell you certain signs and symptoms which can point towards the possibility of insulin resistance. While early insulin resistance may not have any clear signs, there are some clues that your body might be struggling with. And increasing belly fat despite no major change in diet, constant tiredness or energy crashes after meals, if you have intense sugar or carbohydrate cravings, if you find difficulty in losing weight, and you also notice that the skin in your neck or underarms becomes dark and velvety, these all are warning signs pointing towards insulin resistance. For women, irregular periods, excessive hair growth, or polycystic ovarian syndrome are another important indicators of development of insulin resistance. And men also may notice low energy and reduced muscle mass. Additionally, if you have a family history of diabetes or heart disease, then even mild symptoms should be taken seriously. Once you are able to at least suspect it from symptoms, how do we doctors diagnose it? Most people make this mistake that their blood sugar test is normal. Remember, in early insulin resistance, your sugar levels may be perfectly normal, but your insulin levels are high. And that is why we recommend specific tests like the fasting insulin levels. Sometimes we use a combination which is called as the HOMA-IR score, which is calculated from the fasting glucose and insulin. HbA1c, which shows the average of glucose over 3 months, is very important test to reveal insulin resistance. And these tests can help to detect insulin resistance often years before true diabetes develops. So detecting it early is one of the best ways to reverse it. And now I'll tell you how to reverse insulin resistance. Well, the good part is that insulin resistance is often reversible with the right changes. And the most important of these are dietary changes. You need to focus on whole, unprocessed foods, reduce the amount of refined carbohydrates, added sugars, try to add protein in every meal. And all these factors, along with using healthy fats which come from nuts, seeds, and olive oil, these all factors will help to reduce the amount of carbohydrate load that your body is getting. The second important part is to increase physical activity. You should aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week. You may also do strength training to build more muscle, and this does help to improve the insulin sensitivity. If you have to be sitting or standing for a continuous period, make sure every 30 to 40 minutes you move around and stretch your body. The third important part is to manage your stress and sleep. So relaxation techniques like meditation, deep breathing, and ensuring that you get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep is essential to improve your insulin levels. And finally, seek medical support in time. If you have been diagnosed to have prediabetes, your doctor may also prescribe you certain medicines like metformin to improve insulin sensitivity along with these lifestyle changes. And why this matters for our country's future? Because if we do not address insulin resistance as a country, we are looking at a tsunami of lifestyle diseases. By 2045, India is projected to have around 125 million people with diabetes. This will mean more people with heart attacks, kidney failure, peripheral arterial disease, and many more problems to come. So if we can catch and reverse insulin resistance early, we can help to save millions of lives. So this is not just a medical issue, it is a public health priority. And in this video, I have explained a few more practical steps that you can take to control your insulin resistance fast.